also tell me a little bit more around how does this whole thing from a concept to execution and launch? Who are the various players? Like, what is the role of, let's say, a product designer here
Hmm.
versus a product manager versus do you also get somebody from marketing? Because it's kind of a playing around with user psych, it is playing around with your business goals, but the core of it is your product design, right?
Yeah.
Which should be able to capture that nuances very, very effectively. So
Yeah.
how does that work?
First of all, it's true to any organization. It's got to be a team work, right? Um, Although there's no one single answer to this, I have seen it work differently in different organizations. Ola was a very different structure. CRED was a very different structure. Swiggy is a very different structure. Zipdial was a very, very different structure. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'll talk about how different it was and how it plays around. So, for example, in Swiggy, we have a behavioral sciences team whose expertise is to understand a user persona, and help us with tools that will get user to progress through the journey in Swiggy. So they come with the expertise of psychology, behavioral sciences, what are the various ways we can run experiments, which principle to apply if I want to meet this goal, right? They are a lot more structured and a framework, that the psychology framework that they apply when they come as a team. Uh,
Okay.
then there is your marketing team, who's responsible for largely giving us trends on what a gig workforce really looks like, right? What are the needs of this gig workforce? Where are the patterns and the trends emerging, right? And then they work with us in landing the product and the success of the product as well. But it first starts with understanding the user if we are doing a 0 to 1, right? If it's not a 0 to 1, and if it's a feature that already exists, then we probably don't need a grounds up research. We just need to
Hmm.
understand the need state of the user for that particular problem.
Correct.
Then we solve backwards of that. So marketing and behavioral sciences team largely co-work with us to do all of the research, do smaller user testing. Is this proof of concept validated? Go on the ground, talk to them, understand what they understand from what I'm trying to speak about in this particular design or this feature. So they are very key co-partners in that. Then there is the design team that brings everything to life in the UI, and they, in my view, probably play one of the most important roles in executing it bang on. Am I giving the right visual feedback? I think again, CRED is a brilliant example. Ola has done very, very simple but brilliant user feedback at every step of the booking funnel. Similarly, even at Swiggy, right, we have like some very sharp designers trying to figure what does a gig workforce understand. It can't be very complex also. Where do they spend their time? It is so important to know that what are the other apps a gig workforce uses, so I can replicate design patterns accordingly, right? So this is where I think the design team plays a super important role. Business teams, of course, to help us, with horse blinkers on the goal that we want to get to. I need these drivers to log in, my delivery executives to log in every day. Now, the business metric here is for them to come back and log in every day. But the need state is, why will I log in every day, right? I want to log in every day because I need more money. And how do I get more money? By telling the driver partner or the delivery executive, hey, this is where you get a host of orders. Now, how do I communicate this to a delivery executive that you are more likely to make more money if you were to, say, work in, I don't know, HSR zone, for example, in a place like Bangalore. And now how do I visually represent that to you as a delivery executive? And the product then that comes out of it is your zone guide and your heat maps and navigating the driver delivery executive through high demand zones, low demand zones, etc. So these are some of the co-partners with us. Of course, there's the engineering team without who we can't anyway execute all of this. And then the core analytics team. I think the most important thing in gamification applied on a non-game context is to be very sharp about that goal, right?
Hmm.
And when you are sharp about the goal, you need to be sharp about your inputs.
Correct.
What is it that drives my retention? For example, the input to driving retention is for you to come back the first 7 days of your new user journey. results in better M1 retention. This insight has to come from data for me to drive that experience, right? So now I know analytics and product co-works and says, I need this guy back every day for 7 days. I'm going to obsess about this input metric and get this person to log in. And then I know they're more likely to come back if I get this. Obviously, there are causation correlation always is a fight, but that's where you run experiments and like test out all of your hypotheses. But
Yeah.
hoping I haven't missed any. These are the large set of teams that come together to make this happen.
Yeah, that's like they say, right? It takes a village to get this out. So we talked about behavioral sciences team, we talked about marketing, we talked about analytics, and of course the design, product, engineering, right? And yeah, I mean that's what leads into some very delightful experiences.